A thread by Carlos Osuida. Let's illustrate how Donald Trump is a big picture guy. Did you know that it's almost impossible to photograph the big picture? Before I lost much of my eyesight, I built military miniatures and photographed them. That's a German assault infantryman of World War I. He's wearing steel body armor. I took the parts of several commercial kits, combined them, and scratch-built details. Most figure builders use oil or enamel paints and blend them. I used acrylics and created shadows and highlights with transparent glazes and artists' pastels. For details, such as the eyes and the writing on the hand grenades, I used decals. Paint a sheet of clear decal film blue or brown and punch out 2 tiny dots, irises. Since the figure is 2 inches tall, it's very hard to photograph. You need a tiny lens aperture, very bright lights, and long exposure times, slow shutter speed. I used an f-stop or aperture of f/22 on the far right. So that's like a pinhole aperture right there. Since the photo will not look anything like what you see through the viewfinder, you have to bracket the exposure time. You take 3 shots. 1 at the exposure time the camera tells you to use, 1 at a faster speed, and 1 at a slower speed. This was all in the pre-digital days. I lost much of my eyesight during the era when serious photographers used transparencies, otherwise known as slides. You can't photograph at very short ranges with a short camera lens. The numbers represent the physical length of the lens. So in this case, we have, let me move myself out of the way here. In this case, we have 70 millimeter, 135 millimeter, and 200 millimeter. Note how blurry the background becomes the closer the small object comes into focus. See the blurry background behind the Hodge twins? All right, there you got your Hodge twins. Notice how blurry the background is. So I used a very long telephoto lens, a tiny aperture, very bright and hot incandescent bulbs specially designed to replicate natural light and long exposure times. You had to watch out for lights that changed the colors of the models. I built vignettes too. American Browning Automatic Rifle Squad, Browning Automatic Rifle, BAR for short. Only the heads, hands, helmets, and M1911 pistol are commercial items. Everything else is scratch built. I made the Browning Automatic Rifle gunner Chinese, based on a photo I have. And finally, French assault troops, using a knocked out Renault FT as cover. The tank is a commercial kit and the troops are scratch built. All these figures are 2 inches tall. But you can't photograph the world as it is, except with only one type of camera. First, we need to define depth of field, DOF. You get narrow DOF with long, narrow DOF with long lenses and large, wide DOF with short lenses. This photo has great DOF. However, if there were a butterfly in front of the lens, it would be blurry. The only camera that can do the trick is the pinhole camera. It has no lens. There's a literal pinhole as an aperture. You uncover it to take the shot. No focusing and no worries about lighting. This is the great value of pinhole cameras. Read the caption. Let's read the caption. Pinhole photographs have an almost unlimited depth of field so that objects close to the lens to infinity are in focus. And that's why so many allegedly intelligent people, oh, sorry, isn't that amazing? Sorry. Okay. Guess what? Nobody makes a massively high quality commercial pinhole camera. The two Holga cameras I showed you are made of plastic. I've only seen one pinhole camera that a professional photograph had made by a machinist who was also a photographer. The camera took the best photos I've ever seen. Why don't more photographers have high quality pinhole cameras made? Because they're considered gimmicky. Isn't that amazing? The only way to photograph the big picture is considered a gimmick. Trump has the best pinhole camera ever made. It's inside his head. He sees everything in focus, from up close to infinity. And that's why so many allegedly intelligent people can't understand Trump. They see the world through cameras that leave either the foreground or the background blurry. They're either totally self centered or they lump everyone except themselves into labeled groups. Use a pinhole camera like Trump does. It's the only way to see the world as it is, not as it appears to you.